Welcome back to the Diddy Men, and let's start by taking a look at that beautiful result on the screen above me there, inexplicably going into the final game of our group at the Asian Cup. We're still in with a chance of qualifying. Now, after 10 minutes of today's game against Japan, that will be out of the window, but we went into our last game against Uzbekistan. We went behind twice, but we managed to come back and nab a point in that game. Probably my best result. Definitely my best result since taking over as Indonesia boss. Our performance in the first game was heartening. Then we managed to get a point as well. Things look like they might finally be heading in the right direction as we try and take the Diddy men forward in today's game and into our next tournament as well. So let's give you the rundown for that game. Look, first of all, don't get blinded by the match stats. Granted, they might have had 31 shots to our 3. It doesn't tell the whole story. And look, granted, we did go behind in this game from the kickoff. So we're already a goal down even before we touched the ball, unfortunately. They had the kickoff. They were able to maraud forward. They kept the ball for 30 seconds before rifling one past our keeper. And at this stage I thought, wow, our performance in the first game must have just been a little bit of luck against Qatar and we were going to get absolutely hammered. But we were only behind for about 7 minutes before that man Diddy pounced on a little bit of slack defending. Llama intercepted a ball, gave it to Llama. The goalie really did fluff it, if I'm honest. But we were back in the game and I was getting excited again. Granted, the lead didn't last all that long. They had a corner, they slung it in. And look at that for a powerful run from outside the box. We can't cope with that kind of attacking play with our selection policy of only picking people 5'9" and shorter. But we weren't done again. Diddy back, trying to get us into contention. And look at this for a finish. He lashes one past the Uzbek keeper. And we managed to hold on for the rest of the game. Over an hour. They lay siege to our goal, if we're honest. And I'm going to say those 23 corners were heart-in-mouth moments as well. But we got a point out of it at the Asian Cup. Now, today's game is going to be particularly tricky. Japan obviously are one of the biggest nations out there, but we are doing okay. After a pretty weak start for the first season or so, we are getting better. And who is the king of it all? This guy, Diddy Sulustaiwan. He has now got 14 goals in 14 appearances. On the face of it, I don't think his attributes make him one of the standout performers in the squad. But he just so happens to play well every time we get him out there. And you can't argue with 14 goals from 14 caps. He's being ably assisted by Ricky Kayami back there as well. I think one of the things that might be making a difference in this squad is we really have tried to pack it with people that have got some pretty combative personalities. And we also now seem to be getting the best out of our wide players as well. So Egi Vickery is just 22 years old. He's playing out in Poland for Lechia Gdansk. He's on £3,500 a week, which is not bad for people in our squad. And he has finally now started to play like the player we were hoping he would be. We have got Andik Vermansire out there over on the wings as well. 31 years old now, but still an absolute top performer for us. Maybe the one man who we're looking for just a little bit more from is Evan Dimas. I thought he might be the star of the team. He hasn't turned out like that yet, but maybe the next tournament might be the one for him. We've also got some pretty good centre-backs in the team now. So this is Zainuri, who's only 5'9", but he's reasonably quick and has got a jumping reach of 7 and a personality of driven. I certainly like that. And this is Dominguez Fakdewa, who is also driven. 5'9", jumping reach of 8. Reasonably quick as well. I reckon we are getting better as a team. We've got a little bit of pace in the fullback areas as well. So this is Manhattan Lestusen, who we have played at a centre-half, but with jumping reach of 4, only being 5'7", we've actually settled him out there as a pretty quick right-back who he's not great at backing up because his crossing is only 4, but he's all right. And with him over at left-back is another player who gives us a reasonably quick back line. This is Rizaldi Hayhanusa. Another reasonable little player for us. So we are going to keep our team the same. I think for the 3rd match running now, we're going to get out there against Japan. I'm expecting things are going so positively. Well, maybe today is the day that we're handed out a whooping, but you never know. If we shock the footballing world, we might even still qualify for the next round. Alright then, of course we're not qualifying for the next round. This is going to be a rout, but I'm interested to see if we can give a 3rd good account of ourselves in this tournament. Remember, the first tournament we went to, goodness me, as we got in pretty early there, the first tournament we went to, the Southeast Asian Championships, we embarrassed ourselves. We were made to look really ordinary against teams in our region, and we couldn't even qualify out of the groups of that regional competition. And we were looking like we could get sacked pretty early on in this series. I feel like we've rallied a little bit. The 4-4-2 the boys have settled into pretty nicely. We've still got problems defending set pieces. Obviously, we're not the biggest team out there. That's a little bit of a scramble. We're always going to be weak from balls into the box, given the experiment that we're running. But we're now starting to put together some decent performances. The system seems to be working a little bit better. So it'd be good to see if we can give another strong performance today. We still go long to a couple of 5'4" centre forwards, as is our want. And Yasuhiro Matsunaga has taken 17.5 minutes to slot them into the lead. This was one that was our own downfall again. I don't want the players going that long. I think, I'm going to have to change the centre-backs to ball-playing centre-backs, even though, goodness me, they don't have the passing attributes for it. They have no vision. They both wear glasses. But maybe just getting them to just knock it into midfield might help us keep the ball on the deck a little bit more. It might mean that when they're being closed down, they are just routinely returning it to the opposition. But I think we're going to give it a go. We're on 37 minutes. They're coming at us again. This could well be the 2nd goal for Japan, and it is. Big Ange has not covered himself in glory there, has he? And we're going to demand a bit more of the team. But to be honest, 2-0 down at the break against Japan is not a shocking performance. And I'm really interested to see whether we can now go into the Southeast Asian Championships for the 2nd time and maybe go a little bit further in the competition. And I'm also interested in getting this group of players into some World Cup qualifiers and seeing if we can at least advance to the 2nd qualifying stage of that in the Asian qualification tournament. And again, try and take on some of the big boys in the final stages of qualifying for a World Cup. We've got to get through this unscathed and undamaged first. I mean, Japan have got some big old players, haven't they, as they stroll past us. I don't think we've had a shot in that entire half. We haven't. It's not been as good a performance as the previous two, but I think we're playing a much stronger team. Let's say, show me something else. And do you know what? I'm going to experiment for the 2nd half with some ball-playing defenders and see if we can get it down on the floor a little bit more from our defence. Here we go then. Part 2. We have put the ball-playing defenders in. The little star ratings made it perfectly clear that this was not what they signed up for. But I am desperate to stop them playing these long balls forward. I don't mind the ones that go behind the defence for our quicker strikers to run onto. It's those ones that the centre-halves loft up for their centre-backs to easily get on the end of. Eggy's in. He's had a poor first half, and I gave him a little bit of a talking to at half-time. And he has come good at the start of the second half. That counts as our first shot on target. We're marching our way towards the hour mark. We're doing okay. I reckon we might have some tired legs out there. Let's see what we've got. We've got a pretty poor performance at right back. Having said how good it was to have a quick right back, he's played pretty poor. Let's get Idris Elba on. And old Dendy's not playing great, is he? But you don't want to take off your star striker. Maybe Ricky off for Saddam might be a way of getting two pacey strikers up front. You never know. A chance might come our way. We're getting towards 70 minutes now. We've racked up 4 shots. And we've not conceded again. Let's even throw out a bit of encouragement. What do we reckon? 5 shots now against Japan. I'm sure they had 14 in the first half, so they've only had 3 in the second half. And I reckon if this is the end of the game, we might have run out, only losing 2-0 to Japan. I mean, look at the size of him compared to Idris Elba, and Idris has just robbed him. This team are big. Look at Namoto there up against our left back. Oh, no, not another. Ah, ha ha. Schnoff in the final seconds. They've robbed a third from us. Kazuki Sesai. Okay, that's disappointing. So I think we played a lot better in that second half. He has gone past his marker easily. Look how tall he is compared to our keeper even. But even at 3-0, I'm going to brand this as a reasonable performance. 5 shots, 1 on target. They've had 18, but most of those were in the first half. Some of those players like Dendy and Dimas have not played well. Our centre-half had a torrid time at the end as well. And we're going to go out of that tournament and we'll tell them we're not happy, but secretly, I don't think that was the worst. So where do we go now with Indonesia? Well, it was looking pretty hopeless, I thought. Going into this tournament, I was even half thinking this could be the final knockings for our time in Indonesia, but I reckon we've given a good show of ourselves. We've got a draw and 2 pretty admirable defeats. I think we can rock into our next tournament next weekend. And you know what? I think our team of Diddy men could be on the up.